Hi, hello, welcome to the Adventure Corner. I'm your host, Robot Spacer. I'm very confused about my computers being weird. I couldn't hear the music until I changed something, but my setup is identical to how it has been for a while now, and I don't understand why that was necessary to fix it. But that's not important. We're here to work on this World Builder game. It's been a little bit. Since November. I think the last stream was the last Friday of November. And then we switched to playing all DOS games for December. And now we're back at it again. The real MKB. Maybe it's not the setup that has changed. Maybe you have. Oh, since 2 days ago? I don't know. I think I'm the same guy. But welcome. Welcome, Adventure Josh. Good to see you. Hope y'all are doing well. So what was the last thing we worked on here? I think a person can grow in 2 days. You might be right. Let's see. I have some notes. I think I did a tiny bit of work on this off stream. It's possible these are old notes and this was previously discussed, but I made some improvements to the egret def code. I don't remember what. And oh god, that was so loud. It was very loud for me anyway. Hopefully not quite as ear-piercing for all of you. Let me make sure my volume here is reasonable. Actually, I guess for whatever reason, whenever you open World Builder, it cranks it up to max volume, which is quite loud. Improved some text when you mess with the nest, and we added some tufts of grass outside the house here. That egret sound. So I just put some little tufts of grass on the sides here. I feel like I could maybe use a tiny bit more. But I just wanted to make it look less smooth. I mean, this is meant to be a grassy hill we're up on top of, so. Minor improvement. Speaking of minor improvements, I keep thinking about, there's a lot of early screens in this that I feel like are not up to the same quality as the later ones I've worked on. I feel like I want to improve them. This is a very good example. This is super rough. It's not terrible. It's just, initially this is going to be a very quick project. I was trying to get it done in 4 to 6 weeks maybe, I think is what I was thinking originally. But this is now the 31st stream, and I spent a lot more time on it, so I feel like I maybe want to improve these screens to get them up to the quality of everything else. But then it's tricky because, I don't know, this dog is not quite as polished as Brisket, our cat, but also it's a good dog, so it's tricky. But maybe we can improve the rest of the screen a little bit and leave the dog as is, and it'll work out fine. But today, I think we're going to work on... there's a bit at the end of the game. I apparently forgot. We changed some navigation pretty recently, and I'm still not used to it. So there's a bit at the very end of the game where a bus finally appears at this bus stop. And I think that's what we're going to work on today. I initially planned to... So, if this were a real bus stop, the bus stop would be facing a street, right? So there'd be a street that's kind of along here. So if a bus pulled up, it would be right in front of you, blocking your whole view, and you'd be on the wrong side of it. So my thought was, well, when the bus pulls up, we got to change the viewing angle on this screen, which, I hadn't really thought about This is the first screen we drew of the game. I hadn't thought about a bus ever appearing here. So that was my plan initially, but I think it might work better. I'm worried it'll be a little too disorienting if you come back to the screen and it's suddenly a drastically different angle. And also, it'll just be more work, which isn't necessarily a problem, but I feel like the combination of disorienting the player and also creating more work is maybe a sign that it's not the best approach. So I think what I'm going to do is have the bus pull up along the side here. I mean, this is a weird space where, like, it's not a real place. And there's lots of strange things happening. So, like, a bus pulling up alongside the bus stop is hardly the weirdest thing going on here. And I think it'll work out okay. At the very least, I think I'm going to try drawing it and see how it feels. And I do think it'll be a little less disorienting to come back here and see that the bus is pulled up. As opposed to being a completely different scene. And then we'll have a separate scene where you can like, you'll see the door of the bus through here, so you'll be able to step inside, and then you'll get the final scene of the game will be you walking onto the bus, like just stepping up into it. So for now, let's try drawing this bus. I have some reference, I think. Well, that's very small. So this is the kind of angle I'm thinking of. I got some other ones here. It's higher resolution, but not as good of a angle. That one's okay. That's a pretty nice one. That is a completely different angle, which I think this is something I was considering when I was thinking about redrawing the scene. So close that one. That one's definitely not going to work for what we're doing now. And then there's another different angle there. So many kneeling buses. That Muni shot makes it almost seem like SF has transit infrastructure. Almost. So I think we'll use this as our main reference. It's a nice bus also, so we can kind of loosely base it on this. So, let's look back at the game here. Let's see, I'm going to save this file so I can have it open alongside what I'm working on. Slightly bitter about the US in transit. I think that's extremely reasonable. So the door on this is like right at the front, which is really interesting. Actually, let me look. Is that a common design? Yeah, I feel like it's slightly more typical to have something like this where there's a little bit more of the front of the bus ahead of the door, but this is like right up next to it, which is just kind of an interesting design. But we'll stick with that since that's the reference we're using. So that means the front of the bus will probably be right here. I'm really curious how this is going to look when it's all done. But I think sometimes I sketch things out before I start drawing in World Builder, but I think we'll just go straight to drawing in World Builder since like the angle of this is pretty much exactly what I want. And I just want to rough it in and start to see how it looks. So there's two ways I can do this. We could have an object that gets added to the scene at the end of the game. or we could have a completely different version of the room. I guess in both cases we have to add some code to change the end of the game, and I think like when we were doing the study where we have a light that turns on and off, initially I had the dark room be an object that gets overlaid, and there were some major issues with that on older Macintoshes, and we do want this to run well on an actual computer if at all possible. So I think we'll do a separate room, and that'll work out a little bit better. So we'll just duplicate this room, and we'll have to rename it. I guess I'll look at the way I've done naming for other alternate rooms. And then I'll have some code, so like at the end of the game, the two screens that are next to this area will have to have some custom code. So like if you're going north from the room to the south, you'll have to check if you've, crossed this certain point in the game, and then change which room you go to from there. It's funny what H.264 does with halftone black and white. Yeah, it's not ideal, but I have spent some time tweaking it to do the best that I can. Part of it is scaling, because the screen is not, it's scaled up to fit nicely on a 1080p layout, and then also it's got the compression on top of that, so it's complicated. At least this stuff isn't as complicated as streaming Return of the Obra Dinn was. That was really complicated. How do I do any of this? We're going to open World Builder. On Source, it's pretty good. The transcoding is what goes nuts. Yeah. Untitled game. We do have a title now, which is Transit Point, but we went so long having this all say Untitled Game, I feel like maybe renaming it will be like the last thing we do. I feel like that'll be satisfying. We also need to create a little icon for it, which I was thinking about doing today, but I feel like that's getting ahead of myself a little bit. Okay, so we have Study and Study Dark, which is two versions of the same room, basically. I'm just trying to think of what's the best way to name this alternate room. Greencastle Vlog, hello, welcome. World Builder, eh? Yes. Are you familiar with this program? Or are you just intrigued by its extremely old appearance? Culinary, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Culinary was playing Racing Lagoon yesterday, which is a PS1 game. Did you say that was a Square game, right? I think that makes sense, because there were references to Saga and Final Fantasy in it. And it's like a RPG racing game. And I'm generally not a racing game person, but I kind of want to play it. It's very cool. It's got a lot of fascinating things going on. Wanted to play more today, but I'm just completely drained. Reasonable. Well, I hope you're having a relaxing day at least. When I was growing up, I created many little worlds in the software. That's awesome. I love to hear that. I also played around with it growing up. I can't say I created many worlds in it, but I do have my original manual. I also have, they're not in the room right now, but I have the original discs for it as well. And had a lot of fun playing around with it. I was pretty young still when this came out. And then later I started getting into HyperCard when I was a little bit older, like 12 or 13. So that was when I started spending a little bit more time creating things of my own that were a little more complex. I think most of the stuff I did in World Builder was just following the tutorial and kind of goofing around and not really getting too far with it. But I thought it'd be fun to go back to it and take another shot at it now that I'm just a little bit older. And it's been a lot of fun. Master and I are resting in the living room. Nice. Like a pre-RPG Maker, but for first-person text-based adventures. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's go ahead and duplicate this room because we want to have most of the same art. Where is it? Bus stop. Okay, so things are a little chaotic here. There's lots of like the bus schedule is right next to the bus stop, but we had to kind of put it off to the side. In some cases, like these thick lines are basically walls. Like you can't navigate past a thick line automatically. You can with code if you write code to handle that. But like if you try to go east from the bus stop, it'll automatically go over to the library entrance. So I've tried to lay things out so that we can get as much automatic navigation as we can. But in this case, it's going to have to be all code anyways, so it doesn't really matter where we put this alternate screen. So we'll just stick it here, I guess. And so now we have the same art. We'll leave this screen for now. Well, let's change it up a little. We're at the bus stop. It looks nice from a distance. A bus has arrived and is waiting for passengers to board. Yeah, we'll remove that sentence. They're paths leading off to the south and east. Yeah, that's fine. And what are we going to name this? Bus. I'm just going to name it Bus Arrived for now. I feel like that's not... It doesn't matter that much, but it's not quite what I want it to be named. You do see the name of the room at the top of the window, so... but then the tricky thing is that it's also how you refer to it in code. Let's see. Scene data is what I want. So we want to block off all these exits, and we're going to have to handle navigating out of here in code. Let's go ahead and add the code for handling this. Let's see. Apotheo Bus. Hello, Salt Ranger. Good to see you. I think, oh, right. I finally made a document in my Notes app to keep track of all the variables. Transfer point variables. I'm trying to remember if I ever created a variable to keep track of whether or not you've reached this state in the game. Oh gosh. Oh, I forgot about this. So another complicated thing we have in the game. Let me go ahead and kind of show how some things work for anyone that's new here. I've been kind of pushing the boundaries of what World Builder was designed for. So we have a couple of situations where you get kind of a close-up of an object and then you can interact with it. I'm just going to go ahead and I got some cheat codes in here right now. This is kind of our big item here, the Little Sweetie. It's a goofy little email device for girls. like very, very early email technology device that was marketed to a specific audience for whatever reason. It's a little too niche and probably would have been very expensive at the time to be very realistic, but that's okay. So when you look at this device, you're taken to a different room, which is complicated because in World Builder, you can only set a variable to a number. And we need to remember where the player was. So if we close the Sweetie, we need to take them back to where they were. And that means we need to keep track of that with a number. So I have a list. No, that's my sounds. There's my locations. So I have a list of what each number equates to each location. So we have bus stop. Okay, so the study, I handled this problem already. We have study and study dark. So I think what we'll do is we'll add another number to be this final bus stop area. But then the thing that gets really complicated, which we'll go back in World Builder to illustrate, is the code to deal with all this. So let's see. Little Sweetie off is that screen we were just on. And here's the code for that scene. This has a lot of code and it takes a long time to load. There's a way I can speed this up, but I forgot about it. And I need to do it before I open the window. It's complicated. Okay. So here's all the code for this room. It's a complicated little device, so there's a lot of code here. But then at the end here, we have code that handles taking you back to where you were. So if you type done, close, return, or put away, then we have this L1 variable. All our variables in World Builder are a letter, a number, and then the number sign or pound sign always comes at the end. And then, like I said, your value has to be an integer. Can be a positive or negative integer. There's probably also a limit on how high that can go. I can't remember what that is offhand. But the only way we can do this is to basically have this long block of code that says, okay, if it equals 1, then move the player to the bus stop. If it equals 2, then move the player to the library entrance, and so on. And then where it gets really tricky is there's global code in World Builder. Ideally, we could put this in the global code, but that kind of makes things additionally complicated. Like we have to make sure they're in a room where it makes sense to close and go back to where they were. And also the global code is kind of already full. There's limits on how much code you can put in any given window. And we kind of run out of room in the global code. So that's not really a feasible option. So that means I have to take this same code and paste it into multiple different rooms. And anytime it gets updated, I have to make sure I go update that code and make sure it's consistent in all those rooms. So that's fun. But that means because our actual room names are how we refer to the rooms in code, we need a final room name before I really want to write any of that code. Samuel Stokes, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. I wish I could think of something I'm happy with, but let's start drawing the art and we'll figure that out later. I'm trying to brainstorm here. Like ideally, I'd like to follow the same kind of like, I like study and study dark, like room name plus kind of a adjective describing how it's different is nice. I guess we could do bus stop arrived. That's a little bit awkward. Bus stop with bus. That, I don't know, that doesn't quite feel right. Happy to accept suggestions if anyone has any. I guess for now I'm gonna put bus stop arrived here, and we'll see how I feel about that later. Bus stopped. All right, let's start drawing this bus. Oh, this is gonna be a little bit tricky because I need to draw. I'm trying to think. I think what I might do is delete this background stuff. I might regret this, but we're going to see how this goes. I'm going to delete the background stuff just so drawing on top of a bunch of other objects can get a little bit complicated. So maybe this will work out better. Gosh, it's been a while since I've had to think about drawing in World Builder. I think I'm gonna start. We need a wheel well, but I want to get the basic shape in here first. I do wish that I had paid slightly more attention to perspective when I first drew this room. I've tweaked it multiple times throughout the process of working on this, like the bus stop in particular, I've made subtle adjustments to on a couple different occasions. Just fill everything with white for now. Dicebor, hello. Am I winning? Yes. We'll say yes. I am pretty close to the end, so I would say that's correct. The final boss is going to be tough, though. I think in this case, the final boss is effectively me and my own satisfaction with the game, which is always extremely difficult. Kind of on any given project, like I'm very much a perfectionist, so it's hard to like tell myself, okay, this is good enough, we can stop fussing with things now. And especially like, you know, this is kind of like it's intentionally imperfect, right? Like I started out doing things very rough, and even more recently, like I'm still trying to stick with the limitations of the time. I'm trying to draw most of the art in World Builder with these kind of clunky drawing tools, lacking a lot of features that would help me polish things more. So it's pretty tricky to get everything to a state where I'm happy with it. For Kung, hello. The worst part about making a thing, it's done, it works, move to the next thing. Yeah, that's definitely not me. Okay. Polygon. Command G. Gotta remember that. So now I'm going to draw an outline of the door here. I'm a little I'm a little bit concerned that we're not seeing enough of the bus here. One thought I had is that I could potentially like keep the same drawing but shift it over to the right so we have just a little bit more focus on the bus. Like, my number one concern is that it needs to read as a bus. Like, you want to come here and immediately think, oh, there's a bus here. Not, oh, there's a new object here. What the hell is that? I think getting enough of the wheel in to make it clear that it's a wheel is going to be part of it being immediately recognizable. And right now, there's not a lot of space for that. Like, there's just going to be a tiny bit of wheel here. So if we maybe shift everything over so, like, the right side of the bus stop is, you know, just a little bit away from the right side of the window, that would give me a lot more room. And then there's, you know, in addition to making it more obvious there's a bus, there's also a little more emphasis on the bus without drastically changing the perspective. Fakunk says, I gave myself that lesson last night so I could actually release the game I was fiddling with on that stream. Oh, nice. I did not actually know that you make games of your own. It's very cool. If you care to share a link to it, feel free to whisper that to me and I can post it in chat. You won't be able to post it yourself. Just write the word bus on it. There you go. Honestly, we barely even have room for that, so that's a problem. Also, I just realized that in my reference here, the door is closed, but it needs to be open. So I might need to find a reference that makes that shows me what the door looks like in that state. Like, I'm not quite familiar enough with this type of, like, it just kind of folds up as it opens, and I can't quite picture how that looks when it's open. Here's the link to Fakunk's game. I'll definitely have to check that out. Find your way to freedom in an automatic, poetic world after your sister's car runs off the road. Interesting. Is this a text adventure game? Looks like. It's certainly something. Okay, interesting. Does Mac Paint support VI commands? No, it does not. Are you using an emulator? Do you have a Mac that can really run World Builder? Both. I am using an emulator just because I don't have a Mac that I have a way to stream from. Also, at both the Macs I have the 512K Mac that I grew up with. That currently does not run at all. It needs some more significant repairs. I recently picked up a Mac Plus, so very similar computer, just a little bit better specs. And that is working, and I can, run stuff on it just fine, including World Builder. However, I don't have a good way to stream from it other than just pointing a camera at the screen. So we're running this in Mini VMac, which has worked out pretty well. It's a nice emulator. It's a ZZT world. Okay. Interesting. I don't know what that means, but I'm excited to learn about it. I can't do text mode art, so I gave up early. Oh, okay. Text mode art is very interesting. I don't know if I've ever actually played a game with text mode art, but I have seen some screenshots, and it's very neat. Efton, hello. You could screen wipe black from right to left to be like the bus pulling in front of camera. That would be very complicated in a World Builder, but that is a great idea. I could... I could just go from the initial state to showing the new state, which would, you know, it would just jump from one screen to the other, but it might be enough to feel a little bit animated. We'll try that, I think. I think that's worth trying. Torsten Vronger, hello, good to see you. I'd love to create a game like this, possibly with a text parser, like spellcasting and the like, if anybody here knows them. Any recommendations for a free tool for that? I assume you would be interested in a more modern tool. I don't have any... Oh, Adventure Josh, if you whisper that to me, I can both look at it and share it in chat. But yeah, doors folding inwards is what I imagine happening here. Oh yeah, Efton. I think Automod thought you were doing some sort of racial comment or something. It objected to wipe black. Automod's a little bit weird. It's very like finicky. Like it's got certain words it's very fussy about your usage of. It's a little bit weird sometimes. We'll have a halftone dissolve if World Builder does that. Unfortunately, no. If we were in HyperCard, we could do that, and that would be fantastic. But not the case in World Builder. We don't have any kind of transitions like that. It's really not made for doing any sort of animation. We have put in some simple animation on a couple of screens where it felt appropriate. And that's basically accomplished by swapping out objects, and on most computers it works out fine. It's just like a very low frame rate animation, though on older computers it does not work at all, which means I'm gonna want to, just for my own satisfaction, have a separate version of the game that's designed for early Macs, just because I want anyone that has an older Mac to be able to try it on their actual computer. Yeah, animations are not a strong suit of World Builder. Otto Remmer, hello. Is this a thing that people do, making games in old software like this? It's a thing I do, at least. I know I'm not the only person, but certainly like World Builder specifically, I don't see many people playing with these days. There's a couple developers that made a lot of games in World Builder for a long time, though these days they tend to, like one of them is now doing web-based versions of their games. The other one is doing like, you know, modern Mac ports of them. But I know there are other folks that do, like, you know, people still make DOS games, for example. There's definitely still people making stuff in HyperCard, both in actual HyperCard and also kind of like modernized versions of it. So there's all kinds of neat stuff out there. Silver, good to see you. How goes Adventure Purgatory? I'm freezing. I just spent 2 hours building and insulating a new cat shelter for the neighborhood cats in a 28-degree garage. Oh, gosh. Very kind of you to do that. But I'm sorry you had to do that in the cold. I hope you're able to warm up now. Yeah, but if anyone has any suggestions for tools, like more modern tools you could use to make this type of game, feel free to either just say the name or whisper me a link and I can share it in chat. Torsten Bronger said, Spellcasting 101 also has no animations other than a winking eye. You can only add some things to the image they haven't taken yet. Adventure Josh says, some people who make retro games use retro tools, some use modern tools, some use a mix. Yeah. Game Dev Jess says, making stuff for slower computers can be humbling, indeed. Game dev Jeff has been working with Pixel Turkey on a couple of adventure games. Are your games going to run on older computers? I don't know if you do not want to say yet, that's totally fine. I know you haven't revealed many details, but I can't remember if you had said whether your text parser game in particular is going to run on old computers or not. Text parser with 16 color pixel art is running under DOS right now. Nice. That's very exciting. Game dev Jeff also recently translated Father World, a Korean DOS game, which is very neat. Green Castle Block says basically he's making a text-based game. The scene design is meant to be a companion shortcut for picking stuff up and interacting with objects. Yeah, that's a good way to describe World Builder, I think. I've tried to... Almost every World Builder game works a little bit differently. But I've tried to, as much as possible, allow the player to do everything reasonable by just clicking on it. Like if there's something you think you would be able to do by clicking on it with kind of like a modern game mindset, I've tried to make that work. But there are certain things you will have to type, which is typical for a World Builder game. Hopefully, players that aren't familiar with World Builder will be able to figure it out, because I know it is. It can be a little confusing. I feel like there aren't a lot of games that combine the two ways of interacting quite as much as this does. I would say that most games I can think of that have that are text-based but also have a picture, generally you don't click on the picture directly. I can think of a lot of games that have different interactive objects, like a little map, like the Mac Venture games, Uninvited, Shadowgate, Deja Vu. You have a little map where you can click on exits. You have an inventory window. Actually, in those you can click on the graphic though. But yeah, there aren't a ton of those. And then there's also, I think Legends is the developer. I don't think those you can click on the graphic. Anyway, Silver said, you can definitely do it in GDevelop if I ever get around to finishing my Mac Venture template one day. Oh yeah. I think you could do a really interesting version of this using GB Studio 2 though. Interesting. For Kunk says, Inform is really good if you're looking for a Zork-like. You can have imagery, but it's a lot. Adventure Josh says, I just scanned through 40 minutes of Muni footage. They edited out every moment where the doors actually opened. Oh man, that's terrible. There's a tool for making Sierra-likes, but I can't remember it offhand. Adventure Game Studio. Oh, whispered a link to Adventuron. Oh, thank you. It didn't pop up a notification about that for some reason. Create HTML text adventure games in your browser. Neat. That's very cool. Adventure Josh has a bus link for me. Here's some older bus style action, may be useful. Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, let's there we go. Oh, that's an interesting door. Huh. Okay. Yeah. Probably ultimately, I don't need it to look perfect. I mean, we're certainly not going to animate it or anything. Excuse me. That should help me visualize it a little bit better. Let me find a link to Adventure Game Studio. Can't remember the set offhand. Co-UK. And there's also AGI Studio is one that came to mind. If like this is getting a little bit different from what we're working on here, but if you're familiar with like Sierra's early games that had a text parser, AGI Studio could help you make something like that. So not quite the same as this, but a little bit similar. Mac Venture games are always built around assuming you wouldn't be typing. Yeah. Actually, yeah, the text input in those is very limited. But they do have some. Like if you want to speak, you can type what you're speaking. But that's about it. If nothing else, I'm opening my Mac Ventures GDevelop template to see where I left off. Nice. Glad to inspire you. All right, let's get back to this bus. Maybe I'll actually... Well, no, I'm going to get rid of some of these shapes just to have less to fuss with. But I want to have the basic shape of the sign here just to know what's going to be visible. Oh, I had 2 points there. That's a bummer. Having to edit a shape, and I'm just going to start over. Editing shapes in this is terrible because it gets really hard to see the points, and you can't zoom in at all. So sometimes it's easier to just start over and try to do better. Perspective right here. Oh, I should have left that where it was. That's okay. We can fix it. Oops. Reshape. Command R. Okay. Remember all my keyboard shortcuts. Snowy Pete, good to see you. Always a better day when you stream. I'm glad to hear that. Hope you're doing good. Send it back. Really like that late 80s phase of mouse experimentation. Yeah, me too. You know, obviously, like, it's great to see a game that's in, like, a later stage of game design where, like, everything has been kind of figured out. And, you know, it's more about just, like, enjoying the game and the mechanics and the story and, you know, whatever it's focusing on. But it is really fun to see, like, earlier games that are just kind of, like, trying different stuff, and like some of it is successful and some of it's not, and like it can be frustrating to like get thrown off by something that just doesn't work how you expect when you're just trying to figure out what you need to do to make progress in the game. But I really enjoy seeing stuff like that and just kind of you know, seeing what people tried and kind of examining how well it worked and thinking about, what they maybe could have done better to make that mechanic work. Like the past couple games I've played on Tuesday, right now I'm playing Maupiti Island, which is a game by Longcore, a murder mystery detective game. It has some really neat mechanics. And before that, I played Murder Club, designed by Rika Suzuki, who went on to create Hotel Dusk and another Code. Is that the right name? Which just had a Switch re-release come out, which I need to pick up a copy of. I played the original when it came out for DS, whatever DS that was, and I enjoyed it a lot. But there's a sequel that's included with the remake that I never got a chance to play. I don't think that came out in the US. But anyways, Murder Club was really neat and did some cool stuff that just I feel like didn't really make it to more modern detective mystery games, which is kind of a shame. Adventure Josh says, before we decided there were rules for how mice interfaces should work. Exactly. For Kung said, Pararena has stuck in my head since I was a kid. I am not familiar with that. Oh, okay. Interesting. This looks cool. I'm trying to get a... Oh, that's not a very good screenshot. I can find a better one. Alright, maybe that's the best I can do. This is Pararena, an old Mac game. I'm gonna have to check this out sometime. It's a very chunky screenshot. Apologies. Let's watch a little YouTube video. Why not? There we go. That looks fun. Green Castle Block says, I was just having a conversation last night about how mice used to have physical ball inside and how wild that is to think about now. Yeah, every once in a while I'll see like a post on Twitter or whatever about that, and it's just funny to think of. Like, it was such a pain to have to clean, like, if you've never used a mouse with a ball in it, like, so it's got like a little rubber ball and then there's like two rollers inside. So if you're moving the mouse around, like the rubber ball is pushing the rollers either, vertically or horizontally, or, both at the same time, of course. And then, it uses that to figure out how you're moving the mouse. But then, because you're constantly moving these physical things, like dust and hair and stuff would get inside the mouse ball, and it would also just kind of, accumulate gunk over time. So you had to clean the mouse ball and the inside, get in there and get any gunk that got, stuck up in the rollers and stuff. And man, I do not miss that. One thing I'm curious about but haven't gotten a chance to try to research was the Japanese Mac scene. Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of that stuff either. There's probably a lot of stuff there that, just didn't get released in English. I've seen a couple things, but it's like, it seems like it'd be hard to navigate a lot of that stuff without knowing the language. Dronan, hello. Happy post-anniversary. Thank you. Good to see you. My Dreamcast rollerball mouse only moves on the Y-axis. Something has malfunctioned. Oh, no. I was just thinking about Dreamcast the other day because I happened to notice, I was looking at the platforms that ScumVM is available for, and Dreamcast is one of them, which is kind of wild to think about. I would love to play some adventure games on a Dreamcast just for fun. I never have used a Dreamcast at all, which bums me out. Blows my mind what the Quake speedrunners from the late 90s were able to do with ball mice. Jeez, yeah. Have a ScumVM DC disc in my Dreamcast right now. It's difficult to use. Okay. Exciting. Alright, we're making great progress here. No, we're not. But we'll get there. Let me try to rough in the door here. So I think trying to get back to my reference here. Okay, so I think this door, like, the middle part would go in, and then it would either go to the left, like both sides would go to the left, or both sides would go to the right. I'm not sure. It probably makes more sense that they would go to the right with this particular bus, which means that we wouldn't actually see much of the door at all, which might be fine. We'd see like maybe a little bit of the edge. So I think that's how I'll draw it, because that seems the most sensible to me. But I will need to draw a little bit of the inside, just very rough. Thank you for the follow. Good to have you here. Okay, I think, well, let's draw a little bit of that. Let's try to draw a little bit of that. I really wish I could see the inside of this, but I'll just kind of make up my own bus design. So we're gonna have a step up like that. I think that makes sense. To have at least one step up. The other tricky thing, like, I have to think about what I want to draw, and then also like how I want the shapes to be. This would be easier in Mac Paint, but I've tried to keep large things like that like this in Vector Art, just to keep our file size down, which I do think is a good idea. Perspective on the inside, so like this should be kind of like that. This doesn't quite feel right. I think, oh god, I have 2 points in the same spot here. Okay, we're gonna redraw that, even though I mostly liked it. Oh well. I don't like it as much as the first step I drew. Oh well. I'm trying to figure out what is the correct angle on this. Like this line I'm trying to draw is like the lower edge of the windshield. Yeah, it would go this kind of angle I'm drawing now. Right? No. Because it'd be the same plane as the back of the bus stop. Which goes... Ooh, I shouldn't have deleted my horizon line, is the big thing I think I goofed up here. Let's get my horizon line back. That'll be useful. So I think really my horizon line is slightly above, because the idea here is this is kind of fading out to black and you can't really see a horizon, but roughly it's about here. Also, the perspective is not perfect, so I just kind of eyeballed it all and then tweaked things later to eyeball it slightly better. Okay, so that's pretty good. Like, it should go down somewhat, but not a lot. I'm not sure where the vanishing point is. Let me kind of... Okay, so it's... I think my vanishing point is like a couple inches. It's like maybe an inch off the left of the screen. So this line should be going towards that point. I think that's a little too far down. I'm fussing, I know. It's fine. That's good enough for now. Okay. Yeah, I think we definitely need to move this whole thing over to the right, so we can see that wheel. I want as much of a wheel visible as possible. So let's see, can I do? Nope. Oh gosh. I tried to select all with Command A. That's not an option. So I'm going to try to drag this straight to the right. I didn't get the shadow. I think I got everything else. Really hard to tell. I'm looking at like there's the top point on the bus stop, and I think the the box should be overlapping those very top pixels there. I think if that's lined up, then I've got it going directly to the right. It doesn't really matter if it's perfect, but it'll bug me if it's off. Okay, I think that's about how far we want to go over. That's pretty good. I'm going to move it over. I don't like the way the pattern is. The dot pattern here is making these outer edges look thick. So I'm going to move it back 1 pixel. Try to. There we go. 6-7, good to see you. Looks like a selection box rave. Yeah. All right. I think that's pretty good. We'll be able to see most of the wheel, so I think that'll help make it clear that we're looking at a bus here. And I think I like the way this scene will look with that change. It'll be hard to be completely sure until it's done, but I might have to redraw this. Maybe we can fix this. This is the thing I really hate. Like, if I move this point off the screen, which, you know, I want it to do, because I want this to go all the way to the edge. Excuse me. But if I move it off the screen, then I won't be able to grab it anymore to make further adjustments unless I move the whole object over to the right. It's so fussy. Okay. I think that perspective is, now that I can see more of the line, like, I think this line is going up at too much of an angle. Like, it should be slightly less of an angle than this line. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. I don't mind that I'm eyeballing it a little bit, but like if it's off too much, it's going to bug me. So no keyboard for the Dreamcast. Bummer. That seems better. Just gotta fix up our lines here. Oops. You know, I was about to say, like, I could do some of this in Super Paint, excuse me. Silicon Beach Software, who published World Builder. Also published Super Card, which is kind of a HyperCard, but with some more advanced stuff. And then Super Paint, which is kind of like Mac Paint, but with some more advanced stuff. Super Paint actually combines vector art and bitmap art, which is neat. And I know Ray Dunnican, who is a prolific World Builder developer, did art in Super Paint. But for whatever reason, when I copy art from Super Paint and bring it back into World Builder, it always ends up as bitmap. And I can't figure out how to do that correctly. It could be that the version of Super Paint I have is not the right one to be able to do that successfully. I'm not sure. No, that's not quite. It looks fine, I guess. Okay. So now I gotta try to draw this wheel. It's tricky. Especially, I can't... In my reference... Let's see, is that still up? Yeah. In my reference, like, it's all very dark there. So I just kind of, to some degree, have to imagine things. Zooming in. Actually, if I zoom in, you can kind of see the outline of the wheel. But getting the perspective right on this wheel feels a little bit tricky. And then I got to figure out how to draw the wheel well, which is fun because, you know, it's round on top, but then it comes down straight. So I think the best way to do it is just going to be to try to polygon a curved shape. And we'll see how that goes. I don't know that it's gonna go great. It's not terrible. Oh, that's no good. I guess it's acceptable. And then I also don't like how I knew this was going to happen. I would like this line to not be here, basically. We should have a line that goes up a little towards that vanishing point, as opposed to coming straight down here. But I don't know that I can fix that without redrawing this outer shape, which I guess isn't the worst thing. I'm not happy with this curve here. It's just, it's too sloppy. Let me experiment. I might be able to do it with an oval and a polygon combined. Can always add parrots for a higher poly count. Good tip. Oh wait, this isn't gonna work because I only want the top half of the curve and the bottom half is gonna come down here. Let's try this. If I draw directly on top of the curve, I might be able to get it a little more perfect. I don't think I ever finished saying about Super Paint. It has a lot of features that we don't get here. Like you can zoom in to not only get a better look at what you're doing, but also like edit things more precisely. Like when you're editing a polygon, because you have the little, like each point becomes a little box when you're editing it, right? So if you have a lot of points close together, you just have a bunch of boxes and it becomes a mess. Like it's really hard to see both what you're selecting and what the actual shape looks like. So if you can zoom in, it helps a lot with that. But we just gotta kind of make do. Okay. I think that might be good. I think I might be satisfied with that. Oh, that was a mistake. Okay. And then bring this to front. Shrink it down a little bit. That's not bad. I think I can live with that. And it's all going to be very dark. But I think I do want like my thought is we could do like a white outline on the wheel, something like that. I think that'll look decent. There's a couple pixels down here that I would like to just delete, but I think I'm going to not worry about it. Res Mason, good to see you. Can I practice some of my stand-up material in chat? Yes, please do. Okay. I think maybe the wheel is still a little too big. Seinfeld voice. What is it with NS Outline View? Yeah, I actually never used NS Outline View, which is kind of funny because I kind of recreated my own outline view with a table view at one point. We're talking about Mac programming, by the way. Also, sorry if I ruined your comedy bit by taking it seriously. Yeah, I don't know. I'll probably end up fussing with that a bunch more, but I guess I'll stop for now. Okay, let's get some more of these lines in here. So we need a window up here. You want to support old Mac, so the split view is out of the question. You spend 10 hours reading 10-year-old blog posts that are all in Objective-C. That's rough. And then when you're done, it turns out you really wanted an NS table view. I'm just trying to figure out where this line should go. This would be so much easier if I had a bigger canvas to work on and could figure out exactly where my vanishing points are. Which, again, I could do in Super Paint. But here we are. Candle after. Furkong says, objectively, see your way off the stage. Ouch. Alright, let's draw a line here. Like that? Oh no, what happened? Oh, it's white. Fuck. There we go. Yeah, sure. Maybe? That's fine. So now, this is a tricky part, because I really like the rounded windows on this bus, but that's going to be very hard to draw in a way that I'm happy with. In World Builder. If I was in Mac Paint, I could totally pull it off. I could draw this window in Mac Paint. I won't. It's tempting. Swiftly. Swiftly make your way off the stage? Oh no, what'd I do? This is tricky. Like, I need to draw a vertical line that's very close to the pole of the bus stop. So I'm trying to figure out, do I draw it just on the right side? We'll do that. Let's see how that looks. And let's see, this goes up to about the top of the door. Joey's Bites, hello. Hope you're doing well today. I'm trying to decide if this window should be black. Maybe it should be a dark pattern like this. And I think we'll probably want to put like some like reflection lines in there. I guess actually we need like a frame around the window. So this shape should be white, and then we'll have a shape inside that. BRB pair programming with my dad. Nice. Mini bus looks great. Thank you. It's getting there. Alright, I think at this point I'm just gonna delete this sign. Oh wait, shoot. Oh no, it's gone. Well, we'll leave this shape in. I realized that since we shifted everything over, I want at least one of the sign shapes in there so I know when I paste it back in from the other scene that it's lined up the way it should be. Quite a while since I caught a World Builder stream of yours. Is this still the same game you were doing months ago? Have you started another? This is still the same game. I've been working on it. I think I started last March. We took a break for December to play some DOS games. But I thought it was about time I got back to it. It's very close to being done. This bus arriving is kind of the final thing that happens in the game, and then you get on the bus and that's the end of the game. So this is like one of the last things to draw. We'll have another scene that's like a shot where you're just stepping onto the bus and you can see inside the bus. And I think that will be the final scene that I'm drawing. And then there's also, I'm kind of debating whether or not to go back and fix up some of the art that I'm not quite happy with. But other than that, it's that'll be pretty much it, I think. I thought the bus stop had just arrived from a long trip. Okay, that's pretty good, I think. So we'll fill this in black. Or wait, we were going to do gray. And then this shape, let's try black for that. It might be good. I hope this all reads okay. Let's see, we're also going to want a shadow. We have a gray shadow on the bus stop, so we should have a similar shadow on the bus itself. This really doesn't need to be precise, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. No pen. Gray fill. Send it back. That's pretty good, I think. Hello, Robots friend. Good to see you. You need to create windows and wheels for the bus so we can finally finish building. The game does feel very adventure game. Yes. I'm imagining the bus taking you to some destination that leads you to the sequel. Oh. Exciting. I don't know that it would make sense for this game to have a sequel. I can't explain that without spoiling some of the story, which I'm trying. Obviously, we've built most of the game on stream, so if you watched all the streams, it's been thoroughly spoiled. But for folks that haven't, I've been trying to not explain too much of it. My plan after this is to actually port it to the Playdate, which is this tiny little handheld. actually have a very rough version of it on here. There it is. Don't have a title card for it. There's our bus stop. I thought it would be fun to port to this. It's kind of funny because my original thought was this would open it up to a slightly larger audience. Even though this is a very niche handheld. It's at least a modern device as opposed to making a game for extremely old computers that hardly anyone uses anymore. But I've actually since then figured out a way to make this playable in the browser, which I think is going to work out extremely well. But I do still want to port it to the Playdate. I really want to make a game for this device, and I'm pretty happy with what I've come up with for this. I'll have to... You can do typing on this. Like there's a pop-up keyboard you can use, I think. But it's not ideal, of course, so I'm going to try to figure out a fully point-and-click interface, which I've already done a fair bit of work on. And I have text pops up in a little window. And interestingly, the screen size for this is pretty close to the graphic window in World Builder. I think it's a little bit not quite as tall, and it's a bit wider. So basically, I'll just have to expand all the art slightly to make it a little bit wider. And it should work out pretty well. And then I'll basically have to rewrite the entire game because there's not any way to port a World Builder game. But as you can see, I've done a bit of that already, and I think it'll work out pretty well. So that's the plan when this is done. And I won't stream that entire process like I have with this version of the game, just because, most of it's going to be rehashing the same stuff. But I will definitely do some streams, which I think will be fun. Just imagine typing on the little sweetie emulated by typing on the Playdate. You will definitely be able to interact with the little sweetie. Funny enough, the little sweetie, despite being an email device, does not actually have a keyboard. This was part of its ultimate downfall and why it failed to reach popularity. But you can only choose canned responses on the little sweetie. It's primarily an email reading device. Perhaps you could integrate the crank into one of the puzzles. Yeah, I haven't fully figured out how to use the crank yet. My thought was, in here you can type inventory and you just get a text list of your inventory. So I'll need to handle that in a different way. And I think what I'm going to do is have the crank, like if you start turning the crank, it will automatically pop up the inventory, and then that will also allow you to cycle through the items in your inventory. And then, you press A to select one, and then probably, select somewhere on the screen to use that item or something like that. I haven't fully figured out how that works, but that's kind of the idea I have for that. But it could be that we could also use it in some other interesting ways. I haven't really taken the time to think through how all of the puzzles will translate. How to ride that bus. Good. I'm glad to hear it. They released a pedometer and exercise meter device that was more successful. You may have heard the Lil Sweaty. Yes. Okay. Let's continue working on the details here. I do kind of like we have some like color stripes on here. I especially like the one along the bottom. So I think I want to do like a darker shape on the bottom. Which does get a little bit tricky because I'm like lining up shapes with other shapes. It's actually, I'm gonna try. Let's try this. Let's see how this goes. I'm trying to do a shape that's just like a little bit inset from the outer shape. Oh, and then the layering. Is this gonna work out right? Yeah. It's pretty close. I don't know if that gray is quite right since our shadow is the same color. Maybe it's okay though. Figure out what color the rest of this is. Oh, this line is... That might be a good shade. This might be a point where we need to get the rest of our shapes in here so we can see how this all looks as a whole. There's still some shapes I want to add to the bus. Definitely the wheel we need... We need to draw the wheel itself. Oh, there's a mirror. There's a mirror on the front that is going to be mostly covered up. I'm trying to decide if we want to draw some hint of that or not. And I'm also wondering if we want any details up here or just leave that out. And reflections on the window. Let's see, this frame should definitely be a different color. Maybe not. I used to see a bus and think, that's a bus. Now I look at your bus and think, oh, it's a high floor bus with swing doors, probably a 90s model. Good. I'm glad. I hope this looks like a 90s model because that's the correct time period. It's okay if it doesn't. But I think we decided that, well, the place that we're in here is not the real world, but the game as a whole does take place in like probably 99, maybe 2000. This is mostly based on the fact that this is mostly based around the little sweetie because it's an email device, so we needed to be a time period where a portable email device would exist, and then also it has Wi-Fi, so we need it in a time where Wi-Fi doesn't in fact exist. It's definitely, I think, a little bit of a cutting edge device, especially considering its niche market, but I think that is a reasonable time period for such a thing. I've watched too much RM Transit. Interesting. We talk about the trade-offs between high floor buses and low floor buses. No, don't let me do that. Actually, okay. I am curious, but I won't make you. I guess I would think the main concern with a low floor is, concerns of bottoming out. But, you also make it easier for passengers to board and unboard? Disembark? I don't know what is the correct term there. The short version, low floor, are newer and vastly more accessible. Right. Okay. Let's get our other shapes back in here. I want to see how the scene is looking as a whole. So first, I'm going to try to select all our background shapes. Don't know how this is going to go. especially since... Actually, we can do this. Okay, I didn't get them all. Still didn't. How do... How am I not clicking on that? Okay, that time I got it. Okay. Now we can just close this and make sure to say no. And let's see. I'm pretty sure we copied that. So I'm just going to delete that one. Paste this all in. And then send it to back. And a nice thing you can do, like, if I deselect anything, I won't be able to undo. But if I click over here, I can remove the visual selection and see how it all looks before I confirm. That looks pretty good. I have just realized that this bus is like very close to the side of the bus stop, but that's okay. The bus driver is just... They're very good. They're very good at their job, and they're just trying to make things as convenient as possible for the passengers. Let's go ahead and close this so we can save it. And then we'll copy the sign. This is going to be a little trickier. Actually, let's do this. We'll delete all these shapes. And then I could just draw a box around this. Copy it. We'll cut it. Okay, yeah. Cutting it allows me to make sure that I've copied everything. And then we say no again. Furkong says, me to the bus when I get on. Kneel before Zod. No, actually, please, it's icy. Adventure Josh says, one sad fact about low-floor buses, they don't kneel because there's not really a point. That makes sense. Okay, so now we can go back in here. And I've just realized a tricky thing here, which is that I want to delete this shape so we don't have a duplicate, but I also need that there to line things up. So I'm just going to have to do my best to figure this out. That's very close. It's hard to tell if it's perfect. But now I think what I can do is delete this shape. Okay, I think I'm a little bit off. Yeah, I think everything needs to come down 1 pixel. Which is really annoying. I'm sure no one else would ever notice, but I would. It's still not right. Sometimes it's hard to move things just 1 pixel in this. Oh, what'd I do now? Oh, I really goofed it up. I definitely moved it too far down, and I think I'm over to the left 1 pixel now. Really hard to tell what's going on here. Okay, I think that's right. I think. Interesting. Things look a little different there, but it could just be how the patterns are lining up. Actually, I don't know. Something seems off. That's better. the pole is no longer lined up with the window the way I had it originally. Okay. I'm going to move this all 1 pixel to the left. And then I think that is how we want it. Yeah. That's better. Okay. I'm satisfied now. Although, I think I'm going to nudge this window 1 more pixel to the right. Okay. That looks a little better. Alright, that's not bad. I think that looks like a bus has pulled up next to the bus stop. We're definitely missing some detail on the inside, but I think I'm okay with that. Like, in general, our art has not been super detailed, and I feel like I want this to, like, look like it's kind of dark on the inside, and you're not able to see a lot of detail. So that kind of gives the impression I'm after. We definitely want to add the wheel. I'm still not sure if I want to put any detail up here, like the actual bus has like a logo and a bus number or some kind of number, which we don't necessarily need to get that detailed, but I don't know, I do kind of like suggesting something up there. Or maybe I could have another stripe up there. Maybe just that different bit of color up there would help it look more finished. Let's try that. Now that we got all the shapes in here, it's starting to get a little more complicated, but since we're close to being done, I think that's okay. So for example, like, we have to send it back and bring to front. There's no way to move an object back like one layer at a time. So in order to fix the layering here, I gotta select all this sign stuff and bring it to front. And hopefully I didn't miss any. I think that's right. All right, we're gonna draw some lines on the window. Like we have these lines on the greenhouse. I'm trying to think, I feel like there was a more recent time where I needed to draw something like that. I can't remember where. Who knows? But I think I'll just do some, you know, basically random diagonal lines like I did at the greenhouse. I guess I'll do the wheel first. Let's close this again to save it. I think I'll copy and paste this oval just to make it a little bit easier to get. Like, I want the same proportions, just smaller, which is kind of tricky to do. It's still too big. especially since it's cut off on the left side. Although I could move it on screen. And then just put it back when I'm done. That's not right. I think I made it too narrow. That's pretty alright. That's too bright. I think we want a darker color. I'm trying to decide if I want to put any more detail in. Like the reference here, you know, is very detailed wheel. I'm not going to put that much detail in, but I think I might have this like darker inner circle like it has. Hey, Getselly, it's good to see you. To make this more realistic bus stop, the bus should never be on time and will drive past you if it sees you. Okay, so let's try to add another circle here. This one black. I guess that's too big still. I'm trying to decide if I like the way it looks. I don't love it, but it's maybe better than not having it there. Let's try going a little bit smaller still. Tricky. I'm gonna try getting slightly more detailed with this than I planned to, just to see how it looks. Pop quiz, who knows the song Another One Rides the Bus? I can't say that I do. Is that like a Weird Al song? That's what I'm imagining in my head. Yeah, I think something like this will work pretty well. Very early Weird Al. Nice. One of his first. I wouldn't be surprised if I've heard it before. Other than, like, I can imagine, Another One Bites the Dust, but with different lyrics. But aside from that, I can't really think of how it goes. I feel like it's kind of hard to tell, but I feel like it's not quite wide enough. Pretty happy with that. I think once we get a reflection on the window, it'll look pretty good. I do wonder if maybe we want a little bit of a, like, let's just do a very made up shape. See how it looks. Like, my thought is, like, this is just like you're seeing a little bit of like the dashboard area, I guess. Like, I don't want to put in detail so much as just like indicate, have some more darker shapes to kind of suggest what is going on in here. That doesn't look right. Line just kind of gets lost. I don't know, maybe this is a bad idea. Let's try tweaking it slightly. Thank you to follow. Good to have you here. Yeah, I don't know. Is that good or bad? Maybe it's good. Now let me try redrawing it. But I think the basic idea is it's a good move. Decent. Okay, reflections. Let's close to save again. Closing the window is the only way we can save it. And we only have like a single undo, so that's why I keep doing this. Joey's Bite says, someone introduced me to Weird Al in the early 90s, high school for me, and I was hooked. Trying to think of when I would have first got introduced to Weird Al. I feel like Eat It is the first one I remember, which I guess would have been probably 80s. Wikipedia, 84. Gosh. But I've never, like, I appreciate a lot of Weird Al songs and have heard them many times, but I don't know that I don't think I've ever bought an album. I'm trying to think of how these reflections should go. We want to do just the kind of, generic made-up reflection that's on a diagonal line. I'm just trying to figure out what kind of diagonal we want here. We darken the gray at the bottom of the bus because it makes the bus look kind of transparent. to me. Interesting. I think I see what you're saying, like having this gray be the same gray as the shadow underneath. It's tricky. It's tricky. There's so many concerns with different grays. We have a limited palette to choose from. I might experiment with it, but I might just leave it. Yeah, I think that's a decent angle to have. Maybe that's too thick. It's not too bad. I would make this shadow, well, I mean, I guess I could go back and make the shadow darker on the intro screen as well, but now, yeah, that's the problem, is it? Yeah. So I think we're gonna leave that. I feel like the shadow under the bus would look better if it was a little darker, but I think it should be the same value as the bus stop shadow. If this was a brighter color stripe, does that look bad? Yeah, it's not terrible, but I don't quite like it. Bus looks pretty neato. Thank you. Glad you like it. Yeah, so then that starts to blend in with the inside there, which I don't like. We could try making this a different gray. Darker. Oof, no, it's just getting messy there. So yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it. At least for now. Some things I feel like are never really final until I, take a break from it for a little while and then come back to it and look at it again. One thing I think I want to do, I'm not quite satisfied with these wheel shapes. So what I'm going to do is close this. We're going to open up... Actually, we can just use this, since this is an empty... Oh, wait, what? Huh. That's weird. I cut everything to make sure I had all the shapes. did. Oh, I missed one. Dang it. Okay, that's okay. I'm going to realign everything so I can just copy that one separately. I can tell things aren't lined up the way they ought to be here. Oh, what? Oh, that one is in front. Crap. Okay, that's okay. I'm going to delete those. And we'll just leave that one for now. Because we're going to paste them all back in anyway. Entire realignment should just be thrown in for free. I agree. Speaking of which, like, you know, a lot of drawing programs will have a way to align a bunch of objects, which would be great, but we don't. I'm just double checking that we don't have anything like that here. So I think I'm gonna fill all these with white for now. Okay, we'll leave that one black since it doesn't have an outline. Okay, so now I can see what I'm doing a little better here. I want all these shapes to be the same proportions, which they currently aren't quite. So that's the first thing I'll do. That's pretty good, I think. That looks pretty decent. I think I'm probably not going to get too much better than that. Now they're all like lined up, but I don't want them all to be lined up. Like, if this were a wheel, I'm trying to think of how to, like, you know, some parts of this are like inset more into the wheel and some stick out more. So, you know, it wouldn't look like this unless it's all perfectly flat. So some of these, like, this should stick out a little bit more. So this should go to the right slightly. And then this line should go in slightly because that's like an inset part of the wheel. The question is this gonna look the way I want it to? We'll find out. Like, is it gonna be clear this is what I'm trying to communicate, or is it just gonna look like things are lined up weird? I feel like that looks pretty decent. Let's see how that looks on the bus. Oh yeah, like align all to vertical pipe, align all to horizontal pipe, increase vertical spacing, etc. Yeah, those hadn't been invented, unfortunately. Okay, so we're going to delete this shape. And we're just going to try to line this up the same way. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. That looks like a three-dimensional wheel, more or less. Nice. I'm happy with that. Totally normal house? Uh-oh. Yeah, it's extremely normal. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's the most normal house you've ever been to. Okay, I think that's done. I still haven't decided if this is the room name I'm happy with. Bus stop arrived. Could you just name it Bus? I guess we're also gonna have another scene where you're stepping onto the bus. That will maybe be like bus entrance or bus doorway, something like that. Bus stop arrived. Again, I'm trying to think about what I want this to be because I would like to put the code in to make this all work. And I don't want to have to change it later. I think maybe just bus arrived. I slightly prefer having, you know, the original name of the screen plus, you know, something else to indicate how it's changed. Ideally, it would just still be called bus stop, but like, we can't do that. We can't have two rooms named the same thing. Otherwise, I would absolutely do that. I don't really think that the name of the location should change, but we're just dealing with the limitations we have to work in here. So I think like bus stop arrived just sounds kind of goofy, but bus arrived makes sense at least. This bus stop is too clean, needs graffiti. Yeah. Certainly that would be more realistic, but I've been trying not to get too detailed. We do have some graffiti on the library. Somebody has spray painted a cool S on the side of the library. Okay, so now we can add some code. So, bus arrived is 14 is the room number. Ideally, if I was thinking about things, I would have put it up here and it would have been 2, so it's next to the normal bus stop, but it doesn't really matter. Just kind of in terms of organizing my code, that would have been preferable. I'm also going to add this to my... at some point, I wrote up a note that has all of the variables in the game all in one place, which just makes for a better reference than having to flip through my written notes all the time. They're kind of scattered about in here. Okay, so now we can update code. We have a bunch of things we need to do. All right, I never finished figuring out if we have a variable yet for when the player has reached this point of the game. We have a variable that keeps track of whether they've read each email message. And I think... I'm pretty sure after they read the final email is when the bus appears. It's been a little bit too long since I worked on this, so I'm just trying to remember if that's the correct behavior. I think we'll do that for now. I'm also going to add a little note here. Just self-notes after the 4th email has been read, bus appears. Also, I'm going to search this note for bus just to... Okay. I have no other bus-related variables. I think this is correct. So, you can get to the bus stop by going west from the library or north from the storefront. So we need to modify the code for both of these rooms. Well, let's see how this works. Actually, let's open the game real quick. I want to test some things. Hey, Mac, good to see you. I don't remember how A tricky thing to think about in World Builder is when you're overriding a built-in command, you got to think about all the different ways. Like if we want to go east from here, we can just type east. We can open the commands menu and choose east here. We can also press Command E on the keyboard. The good thing with the commands menu and the keyboard shortcuts is whatever is listed in the commands menu just gets entered as a text command. So if I select this or type Command E, we know that it's just entering east and pressing return. The question I'm wondering about is if we can do just a W. And we can. Okay. So that's the thing I have to account for in the code. What about go east? Does that work? Okay, it does. What if I type nonsense east, or west rather? Okay, so it's just checking if the word west is in the command. And then what if I type nonsense E? Okay. So it's checking if you've entered exactly a single letter by itself is a valid shortcut. Otherwise, it's checking if the direction is anywhere in the command. So I have a pretty good idea of how to recreate the same behavior in my own code now. I feel like that's a lineage of NESW navigation in Apple II games. Yeah, I don't know enough about the history there to know when that kind of navigation started out. But it's definitely pretty common in the text adventures I've played that you can do commands either way like that. Okay, so we'll start at the storefront. Okay, so I think this will go towards the end. I think I've generally been putting navigation code towards the bottom here. This is code that runs when you first enter the room, so I've tended to put that last. So I think we'll put our code right here. Oh gosh. So we have text, $, checks for, that's whatever the player has typed. Excuse me. And if we do a single equal sign, then that's checking if the input contains that. Hello, Derek Ironbutt. Good to see you. Or text, whoops, wrong type of bracket. Text $, equals, checks for if it matches exactly. So north. And then we'll have exit. Any if statement can end with end or exit. Exit means it will not continue past here. So it won't run any additional code that happens after it. Whereas if we had end, then it would continue to run any code. So we want to exit after we successfully recognize a command. So the next thing we need to do is check the variable, which is E4 $. So if E4 $, equals 1, that means they've read the final email that causes the bus to appear. And let's see, then we're going to do an exit. There's no else if I remember correctly. I'm pretty sure that's correct. So the way I've been doing this is if the condition is met that makes something different happen, then we do that here. Whereas if it hasn't been met, then we have the default at the end here. So our default is going to be move player at to bus stop. Otherwise, we move them to bus arrived. Okay. I think that's all correct. And since we're going to have similar code elsewhere, I'm going to copy this. Intense programming music, yes. We've been listening to Stream Beats by Harris Heller. I'm not sure if I have a button for this. I think this will work. Yeah, there we go. Lots of nice royalty-free music available. And it's kind of cool, like if you ever have like dispute come up, they even include like paperwork you can download that says you have the right to use this music and stuff. And there's a form to contact them if there's something where they needed to get involved to resolve any rights issues. So that's pretty cool. So then we have the library entrance. And they also have different playlists, like this is a chiptunes playlist. I've also got a chill playlist. It's a little bit more relaxed. Okay, so here I think our navigation code is just going to be at the very end. And in this case, we're going west or W. But then otherwise, we have the same actions. And let's also, I gotta remember to remove this. If text $ equals cheat, we'll call it cheat win. This will just allow me to test some things without going through the entire game. Yeah, it should be exit. Then we're going to... Oh, I don't have any code that right here that does the same thing, so I'm going to have to check the manual real quick. I think let... Yeah, here's some code where we set a variable. So it's let variable equal... in this case, it's setting it to a random number. But that's not what we want. We want to set it to a specific number. So let E4 $ equal 1. So that will give the same result as though you had done the final action that you need to do in the game. I'm going to make a note to myself that I need to remove that. Remove library entrance cheat command. Streambeats link gets a 404. Oh no. Oh, that's weird. Thank you for the heads up on that. It's been a while since I... Oh. The site is gone. Oh. Huh. Sorry, I'm learning about what's going on here. So there's a post from December where the site had unexpectedly gone down. And he's trying to get it back up ASAP, but it still seems to be down. Streambeats.com should work. But then that link should also work. Well, I'm not going to worry about it right now. But if you Google Streambeats, if you're interested, you'll find the music is still available elsewhere. Like you can get the music from YouTube or Apple Music or various other services like that. And I'm sure this site will be back up eventually. Okay. So that handles our west navigation from the library. And then I think, just to make sure that nothing unexpected happens. Yeah, I appreciate you letting me know. I think just to make sure nothing unexpected happens, we will block off those walls so that we never have the default navigation happening. Hopefully, if I've written the code right, it doesn't make a difference and we'll never get the default behavior. But we don't want to have a weird situation. If it turns out there's some way to navigate from one room to the next that I haven't accounted for correctly, I would rather have that not work than have you end up at the bus stop but the bus isn't there, right? Like, that's definitely a little bit worse. So we'll block things off. And then navigating out of our starting area still works, but we need to add code that navigates out of our new bus stop location. So we need south goes to storefront and east goes to library entrance. Hey, Derek Fields, good to see you. Hope you're doing good. Okay, so we also, I want to review all this code to see if there's anything there we want to modify or remove. Okay, so we have south or S, and in this case we don't need to check anything. So that goes to storefront. And then we have east or E goes to library entrance. Okay. And then we have all this code. So this just adds the help and credits to the menu. I think we'll leave that there. This sets the variable that keeps track of where the player is. So we need to update that because this is 14. The search command is fine. We want that to behave the same. Oh, the bus schedule. I need to make a couple notes to myself. Navigation back from bus schedule needs to update. Oh, actually, maybe that's part of the other thing I need to do, which is navigation from close-ups needs to be updated. I think that works in the identical way, maybe? It might be different. Okay. And then we have, if you click on bus schedule small, that I might end up changing this so you just can't look at the bus schedule anymore. Just to simplify things, because it's not necessary at this point in the game. You've already solved the bus schedule related puzzle. You know, the bus is here, so who needs to look at the schedule? Or handle bus schedule code in bus arrived. Okay, so updating my notes. Okay, so we'll get that fixed up later. And then we have some code here. If the egret has chased you away, I don't think this would ever be appropriate to happen here. So we can just delete that. Fortunately. Pretty sure that's correct. Thanks for the shout out. Hope things are moving along well here. You're welcome, and thank you. It's going pretty good. I started on this last March, and took a break from it for a little while in December, but finally getting back to it and hoping to finish it up by this March is my current completely made up goal. But we're pretty close to the end. Like, this is kind of the final scene I'm working on here. I have one more room to add, and there's some art that I think I want to touch up a little bit, just to make the level of quality consistent throughout the game. I started off doing things a lot faster and looser, but then I started spending more time on it, just because it was, we were having fun with it, so it felt appropriate to put more effort into it. But now those early screens kind of stand out as being not quite as nice. I do still like our intro screen, but some of the other ones are a little rough. Okay, no, I quit, but I'm not actually ready to test things yet. We still have some other code to update. So now we have, like I was explaining earlier, we have a bunch of screens where we're kind of pushing what World Builder was designed for. Like, each screen of World Builder is a room. So like it's kind of designed so that each room is a physical space that the player is moving to. But in our case, we have like close-ups that you're going to. And it's kind of tricky because we have to be careful. Like, normally you'd be able to drop items in any room. Like, that's just code that happens automatically. So I've had to write code to prevent those commands from working. Otherwise, you'd see, like, you could go to the close-up of this PDA and then drop the PDA. So you'd have a little version of the PDA that's like sitting on top of the close-up of the PDA, and like that doesn't make any sense, obviously. So I have to write code to prevent the player from doing that. And then I've also had to write code to move the player back to where they were when they exit the close-up. So that's what we're updating here. So, whoops, I don't know what happened there. I think it's okay. So if L1 equals 14, then we move player to bus arrived. And then we can just copy this chunk of code. And we've got a bunch of other places we need to paste that. Ideally, this would just be a function that we could call from a bunch of different places. But there's no way to do anything like that in World Builder. Its language is very limited. This was originally created in 1984, like the same year the Macintosh came out. It wasn't actually released until '86, but William C. Appleton created it to make a game called Enchanted Scepters, and that game did come out in '84. So I assume this was all pretty much done in '84, and they just kind of took some time to polish it up and get it appropriate for release. So it's definitely like Enchanted Scepters was like one of the first point and click adventure games. There are a couple of other examples that have similar game mechanics that were released in Japan a little bit earlier, but it was, pretty cutting edge and doing some very new things. And also just like definitely one of the first like multimedia authoring tools as well. So the fact that, you know, it lets you do so much without writing code, and then it's got a, you know, a pretty approachable programming language along with it is pretty impressive for the time. Some of these screens takes a little bit of time to open and close the code, because it's got to process everything. Like it's checking the syntax and stuff like that to make sure there aren't any errors. Pinter Josh says it's sometimes amazing how much longer it takes you to make something, quote, ready for others to use. Yeah, that's like pretty much 90% of the work. I will often write a little app or something for myself, and you know, while I'm making it, I'll be thinking, you know, this is something other people would appreciate using also. But then, you know, it's like I finished it up, it works for me, and then it's like, well, is it really worth all the work it's gonna take to make this ready for other people to use? And often the answer is no. Just because, like, you know, even though other people would appreciate it, like it's a little bit too niche of a thing to be worth all that effort. There's a lot of code in this one. Okay, that looks good. Let's speed things up here. There we go. The tricky thing is I've put the emulator in all out speed, so now if I click the scroll bars, it like instantly goes all the way over. So I have to constantly change the speed. That's still too fast. Okay. Oops. These PDA screens have a lot of code. Oops. I thought I was in Windows for a second there, I guess. To do Control V instead of Command. The Mini VMac uses Control for its own shortcuts, so they don't conflict with the Mac shortcuts. But if I'm doing those commands a lot, sometimes my brain gets thrown off. Derek Unbrett says, I'm sitting on a CircuitPython app that uses an LED bar graph to display your meetings for the day. Had a lot of people interested in contributing, but just haven't found the time to sanitize everything. Really need to get on that. Forgot to speed it up again before I close the window. Neutromancer, hello, welcome. You need a physical turbo button. Unfortunately, if I speed it up after I've closed the window, it doesn't really affect how fast it goes, for whatever reason. So if I forget to do it, it's already too late. Okay, I think this is the last one. Maybe. Maybe not, actually. But we're almost there. Is this like a parser game, old Mac? Yes. So we're using System 6 on a Mac Plus and an emulated Mac Plus, which is a pretty early Mac. And this program is called World Builder. Got the very old manual right here. It was released in '86, created by William C. Appleton, and released by Silicon Beach Software. If you haven't ever heard of Dark Castle, that's probably their best known game series. It's the same company that published that. And this is designed for an early point-and-click game called Enchanted Scepters, and you can make your own similar games in it. It's kind of a combination of point-and-click, plus you have a text window on the side, and you can type text commands there. A lot of things you can do either way. Sometimes there's things you have to type, sometimes there's things you have to click on. And it also has a lot of simple like RPG combat mechanics built in, but honestly they're not done very well, so most World Builder games avoid using that whole combat system entirely. Slightly magnetic scrolls like. I know I've heard of that, but I can't quite picture it. I'm just Googling it real quick to refresh my own memory. Oh yeah, totally. Definitely a similar kind of thing. Okay, so I think we did all the... Whoops. Speed's too fast. I think we did all the little sweetie screens. Let me double check. Okay, that's up to date. So that just leaves these other close-ups on the next row. These don't have nearly as much code in them, so I can probably skip fussing with the speed. Hopefully. I assume it would be a bunch of hoops to jump through to share the files with your host OS and edit the files in a modern IDE, but maybe wanting an authentic experience. Yeah. I have exported some code when I was trying to make sense of the limitations of World Builder. So the manual says that trying to find the right page here. We have an appendix here that talks about the limits of World Builder. So here's the various limits. For example, the game can be up to 16 megabytes, quite large. Ours is much, much smaller than that. A sound library can be the same size. You can have up to 2,500 scenes or rooms in your game. You can have up to 32,767 characters, objects, or sounds in a game. An item name can be 255 characters. Design size, which is the graphic part of a scene, can be up to 20,480 bytes. The text size can be 10,240 characters. So that limit supposedly applies to the scene text, which is your text window that appears next to the graphic. the scene code, which is code that's specific to a room, or the global code, which is you have a single screen of global code that will run on any screen if nothing in the scene code handles it first. Like if you have some scene code that handles a command and then exits, then it won't ever get to the global code. But otherwise, it will run everything there as well. And for whatever reason, the actual limit for the code seems to be a fair bit smaller than that. You will start getting errors much sooner. But at one point, I was trying to figure out what the actual limit was. So I copied a bunch of code from a scene and I pasted it into a plain text file, and then that I could export and bring it into my modern Mac and put it in a text editor that would give me a character count. And it ended up being like 8,000 some characters, even though I was getting errors already saying I had too much code. But yeah, it is a little bit of a tedious process to get things from here into a modern editor. And I definitely, even though it is occasionally frustrating, I like the authentic experience of it. And plus we get, syntax checking. So, if I was doing everything in a modern editor, I wouldn't have that syntax checking that happens immediately after closing each window and stuff. Basilisk is happy to mount a directory as a drive. Yeah, definitely in Basilisk, it's a little bit easier to share files back and forth. Which we could use for this, definitely. I just kind of prefer Mini VMac overall if I'm using an older version of the system software that's compatible with it. Let's see, we just did cloth close-up, right? Occasionally when I'm talking, I lose track of what I was doing. Okay. Certificate. Thanks for the follow. Nice to have you here. Okay. There are Linux file servers that can do OG Apple Talk, but that's a journey. Ooh, that would be a very interesting setup to have. Okay, I think that's everything. While we're doing this, let's also take a look at the code for the bus schedule. So this is like there's a bus schedule on the wall of the bus stop that you can look at. So when you exit from there, you need to go back to the bus stop. So that's potentially something else we need to update. But I might just change it so you can't look at the bus stop anymore, or the bus schedule anymore at this point of the game. Oh, right. There's a bunch of code here because I'll just say that the bus schedule is a bit unusual. Oh, interesting. So if text equals south, then we move the player back. We now know that the correct way to handle this is a little bit different. So we want a single equal sign here, and then we also want to support if they just type an S by itself. Exactly. Okay. I wonder if there's anywhere else where I've done that incorrectly. I bet I have. Nutromancer says, I find it intriguing that this program seems specialized to make adventures with rooms, yet requires so much scripting for movement. Oh, I guess the player movement is usually handled automatic. Yeah, so if you look here in the map, these thick lines indicate like a wall or barrier, whereas a thin line is going to handle movement automatically. So, for example, if we go in the scene data for our bus stop here, we can check off which areas are blocked. We can also add a comment, which I think is text that will display automatically after navigating in that direction. So there's lots of things that you can do automatically. We can have sounds that play at random or on a set interval. Let's see, like there's lots of object behaviors that are automatic. So you can say if your object is plural or not, which affects the way some of the text is written. Objects can have a value in our game. We're not really worrying about that. There's different categories of objects. So if you categorize something as a weapon or a throw weapon, like it'll automatically give you texts and commands that are appropriate for that type of object. And then you can also have a message that is automatically printed when you pick up the object. So there's lots of things that happen automatically. It's just that we're doing some things that are a little more advanced here. Like at the end of the game, our starting screen changes. So once you've done the action that gets you to that point of the game, we need to handle that navigation in code. And then we're also doing some kind of unusual things for World Builder where we have close-ups, which is not really something World Builder was designed for. So backing out of a close-up of an interactive object is something we need to write code for. So yeah, like you could easily do a pretty interactive game with a broad variety of things you can do with very, very minimal code. And certainly you wouldn't have to write any navigation code unless you had something like, you know, a door that gets unlocked or something like that. Okay, all right. The one thing I want to check was we have a flower pot that I think has some navigation code that should be updated. Didn't know Apple II systems could participate in Apple Talk. I did not know that either. That's fascinating. I guess it is Apple Talk and not Mac Talk. Where's our south code? There's a lot of code in this room. It's probably right at the top, isn't it? I could have sworn I let the player go south to step back from this. Did I just miss it? Look. Nothing. Huh. Okay. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay. That's fine. All right. Hopefully I got everything. Let's try this out. See how it works. Okay. That's good. I did just remember we talked about having it pan over when the bus first appears. I might still want to do that. I could still do that without changing most of the code that I just wrote. We'll copy and paste it. Okay. So let's play around with this a little here. Make sure all our navigation works as expected. All seems good. Let's see. So if I try to go west from here, this egret should chase me back to the bus stop. So I want to make sure that still works. And then I added a cheat code, but the cheat codes are tricky because they kind of put the game in a state that it wouldn't normally be in. So let's go ahead and solve this puzzle here by giving the fish. Apologies, that was very loud. It always resets the volume to max. Okay. So let's also make sure we can do the single letter navigation.
Thanks.
Thank you for the thanks. You're welcome. Okay. Everything seems to be working good in this state. So now let's cheat email? Is that what? I forgot what my cheat code was. Oh no. I thought it was cheat email. Well, we're going to have to go check what the code was. It would be interesting, though perfunctory, to try to port the final release of World Builder over to something like Pygame. There has been some work in adding World Builder support to ScumVM, which is very cool. I'm not sure how far along that work is. I know it's not finished, but I'm not sure if it's like... I'm not sure if, you know, you could play a game in it successfully, and it's just like it needs more work to be compatible with all the World Builder games, or if it's just like completely unfinished. Sorry, I'm distracted because I've been hearing some shouting outside, and there's just like a loud car horn. What's going on up there? I like to be aware if, you know, people in the vicinity are angry. Okay. What was I looking at? Oh, right. I was checking on our cheat code. Just the runtime. Yeah, like I think it's basically, you know, they're working on supporting it so that any World Builder game would be compatible. But I think it was like someone did this as like a summer project kind of thing, so you know it didn't get finished, and you know, it's just a matter of someone else coming along or them finding more time to finish it up or whatever. Oh right, I did cheat win. I forgot. Still in my werewolf call, but we've just been chilling for the last hour, and I've made some food that you can eat at your leisure. Okay, thank you. Silver says, see, my hero defense complex would have said if people in the vicinity are in danger. Sure. I mean, that is part of my concern also. But, yeah. You know, my main concern is like, you know, if I hear people shouting, like, I want to know, like, what kind of shouting this is. Like, is this a person that's potentially going to get violent in some way? Like, do I need to take any action or protect myself or whatever? Or is it just, you know, somebody's mad? Okay, let's cheat win. And now we don't get any output, but we should have set the flag that says we've read the final email message. So now we should be able to go west. And there's our bus. Bus arrived. You're at a bus stop. It looks nice from a distance. A bus has arrived and is waiting for passengers to board. Their paths leading off to the south and east. I think that looks pretty good. So now we can go south. And I did, we didn't feed this guy again. We don't need to cheat. Give fish. Okay. want to make sure nothing weird happens with the egret. So that's all good. And we're always going to the correct scene. The bus schedule is actually not visible here, which is the thing I forgot about. Look schedule. But we can still look at it with the text command. And I think we're going to go back to the wrong room here. Yeah. But that was expected. Okay. Let's do some more cheats here. So, for example, if we grab the sweetie and then use that, then we want to be able to close that and go back to where we were. Great. So I think that's mostly working now. It's definitely not on Secret Crush. I wasn't judging it at all, just commenting on how my nonsense brain works. Yeah, totally understandable. No worries. Okay. I think that's probably going to be it for today. I think I want to take some time to think about how to handle the schedule. Like, on one hand, it makes sense to just deal with it by saying you can't look at the schedule anymore. Like, you know, probably what I would say is if you try to click on the schedule... Well, part of the reason for doing this is if you want to have an object you can click on in World Builder, you need to create a object that is not mobile. A mobile object, which all these items on the ground here are mobile objects, so you can just click on them and World Builder will automatically pick them up. So that's all handled automatically by the game engine. And then if you try to drop Skull, like that code is built in as well. So I didn't have to write any code to handle that. But then you have immobile objects like, let's start a new game here. So this schedule on the wall here is an immobile object, which allows me to write code that runs if you click on it. So in order to have that action in our bus arrived room, I basically have to create another version of that object, and then I have to update the code. Like, it has to be named differently because you can't have two objects with the same name, which means the code that refers to that object has to refer to the correct version of that object in the different room. It's adding a bunch of complication for stuff that doesn't need to happen at that point in the game. But since I want a response if you click on it, I'm already doing all the work anyway. Anyway, I'm just kind of rambling on about something I need to sort out. I might just finish that up off stream since it's not very interesting. Basically, I just have to do a bunch of little busy work to add that action in. And since the perspective, like, we shifted everything to the right, I need to move that object over in its duplicate form. And then we'll just add a little code that handles you coming back from the schedule differently. But we made some pretty good progress today. Let's go back to our final state here, and then we'll wrap up. And then the next thing we'll do is we'll make it possible to get on the bus. So we'll have to add an invisible clickable object over this doorway area. And then we'll also have some text commands to handle getting on the bus, I think. Which is kind of interesting. Like, I think in the default version of this room, you can go north to get to the schedule. I could be wrong. Anyways, that's it for today. We made good progress. We drew a bus, and it was fun. So we'll do World Builder streams regularly once I've finished up my current Friday game, which is Conquest of Camelot. Thank you for the thanks, 6-7. You're welcome. It's possible we'll have some other random Sunday streams before then, but this week, the rest of this week, we'll be back to normal schedule. Tuesday, Maupiti Island. Friday, Conquest of Camelot. Both of which I've been enjoying a lot. DOS. I'll do it. I do need a bathroom break, though. I'm going to take a bathroom break. Let me know if you have a DOS game to request. Otherwise, I'll just pick one. But after my bathroom break, we'll do a DOS game before we wrap up. Back in just a minute. Yeah, Father World is a bit different than most of the games, but I would like to try out Father World at some point. And it's probably not a game I would stream normally, so I figured we'd throw it in DOS break, and sometime we'll check it out. Is that what you're choosing, or are you simply commenting on it? I picked that unless you want to install Eagle Eye Mysteries. Okay, no. Eagle Eye Mysteries. You mentioned that the other day. Okay. All right, I had that open on my phone. But now it's open on here in a tab, so hopefully that will remind me to check it out. I might install that for future DOS breaks. Okay, so we'll try Father World. I do have to... Let me do something real quick here. I wasn't set up for DOS break. So it'll just take me a moment. is that? Okay. Every time I go in studio mode, I'm like, is this gonna work how I mean it to? All right. Hello, welcome to DOS Break, where we take a break from whatever the heck I was doing, which in this case was wrapping up stream, and play a DOS game for a little bit. I think I decided in the text there that the official length of DOS Break is 20 minutes now for normal DOS Break times. If it said something different, feel free to correct me, but I will set the timer for 20 minutes. We'll just play Fatherworld for 20 minutes. This is my first time ever playing this. I've watched Pixel Turkey play a lot of this. So, Game Dev Jeff... Shoot, do I have a... I don't think I do. Here we go. Game Dev Jeff recently translated this. It was originally a Korean game. Now available in English, thanks to Game Dev Jeff. Also, Sonneveld contributed some bug fixes to... I guess there's like a memory leak when you're using the inventory, which in most of the game isn't an issue, but when you get to the final battle, you end up going in inventory a lot because it's very challenging, and unless you're like amazingly talented, like you're gonna have to go into the inventory to use health items a lot, and that means you're much more likely to get a crash, but Sonneveld figured out how to work around that. Anyways, I haven't played this game myself, but I have seen a lot of it. However, I have not really absorbed any of the things you need to do in the game. It's like an action game, but it's a very narrative game. Like, you need to pay attention to stuff to be able to know how to complete the game successfully. So it's got a lot going on. Please don't ask me to explain any of the story. There's a text file that comes with the game that explains some things, including the backstory. If I were streaming this normally, I would read it. I kind of just remembered that. I think we'll skip it for now, since we've already booted up the game. But if I play this again in the future, we'll check that out to kind of go over the story. Okay. Now we're at the start of the game. Hopefully I can remember how to play this. So that's our inventory. I think we have... Okay, Alt brings up the menu. Okay. Okay. I guess we're going right. Seems to be the only way we can go. Uh-oh. Who are you? You don't seem to be from around here. You should come with me. Damn, what are you? The latest cola vending machine? You even talk while walking around. Huh? Cola? I only drink cold water. If you don't know us, you must be an intruder. We are the Jorisha of the Sleepless Night, followers of the Lord Zinus, those who cannot stand idly by while there is injustice. All right, I'm the most handsome and intelligent person in the world, and I am studious. I am Angmin? Why do you want to know who I am? No matter. I will arrest you. Shall I also read you your rights? First, even if I beat you to death, you cannot exercise your right to remain silent. Oh, I should update my category. Hello, AT42 Games. Welcome. Let's see. I think, is there Father World in here? Yeah, great. Welcome, y'all. Hope you had a good stream. Stellaris. Nice. So I was doing some game dev stuff in a program called World Builder from 1986, an early Macintosh. But right now we're doing DOS Break. I have a channel point redemption where someone could spend some channel points and choose a DOS game for me to play for 20 minutes or so. So we're checking out Father World, which is a Korean sort of a narrative action adventure game that was recently translated by Game Dev Jeff. There's a link there where you can download the English patch for the game. Live for 22 hours. Oh my gosh, that's a very long time. I think the longest I've done is maybe 8 or 9 hours, which is a lot. I cannot imagine going for 22 hours. Cinematic platformer. Thank you. That I was trying to remember that phrase. I think that's it gives you a good idea of what it's like. Game Dev Jeff, hello. Glad you're around. This is the first time I've ever played this, and I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know if I can fight this guy. Like, I haven't acquired any weapons. Thank you for the follow. I accidentally opened the menu. I was trying to figure out if there's any... Game Dev Jeff, if you want to remind me of any controls here, feel free. I've gotten hit by the car. Tisk tisk, there goes another one. Always violating signals, and now even the signal of life. I wonder if he had insurance at such a young age. Hasta la vista, baby. You should try it. It's fun. Getting hit by a car is fun? Is that what he's saying? You sound awesome, so I'll 100% be back. Thank you so much. It's been 22 hours, so bedtime, lol. Totally understandable. I appreciate you coming by, and I hope you sleep well. I hope to see you around again. I'll have to stop by your channel sometime as well. That's only 66 DOS breaks in a row. I'm sure we have enough points. Arrow keys are good for now. You do not have a weapon yet. Okay. Back to the beginning. I'll try to do better this time. I've noticed I have to hit return twice to select a button in the menu. Is that correct? It seems like that's what is going on there. Oh, God. Okay. Oh, I should have gone when it was red, huh? Oh, God. Oh, God. Okay, it's red. Ooh, we're in the subway. Okay. Move my mouse out of the way here. What is going on in that poster? Can I go up here? Oh, I learned how to jump. Okay. Okay. Good. So I can do like a long jump, or if I stop, I can jump straight up. Can I also duck? Okay. Oh, I can't go right here. Is there any way I can go up these stairs? Up key should let you exit the stairs. It's just jumping. Am I not in the right spot? I'm confused. Whoa, what? Oh no, I broke it. Oh, space. Okay. I think I broke it though. That was very unusual. He just kind of popped off the side of the screen there. And now I can't... I'm pressing various directions and I can't get him back. I can still open my empty inventory. I think I'm going to have to start over. Restart game. Okay. We're learning. Okay. This time I think I'll do a save once we get down into the subway. Oh! It was a red light. Is the red light for me? Red means don't go for you. Okay, now I know. Like it's facing you, so I assumed that that was, you know, the light for the cross traffic. Continuing to learn. Oops. We want the music. Space also initiates dialogue with NPCs, as you may have noticed. Okay. Oh, so I can use that to advance dialogue as well. Great. Okay, so we need to wait. There we go. I guess I got lucky last time when I went through and it was red. Okay, so we're gonna save now. So next time I die, we can start from here. And if I recall correctly, we need to use numbers for the save files. Oh gosh, what does that say? Okay, hopefully that worked. Oh, so can I go in here? Okay, space isn't doing anything, so I'm guessing not. There we go. Don't need to use the bathroom. Okay, I thought maybe. Oh God. Oh, what's this? Oh, is that? That is water down there, and I have died. Oops. There we go. I have not used the cheat code, by the way. The patch does include a A way to cheat. I'm not sure what the cheat actually does. I assume it just makes you more powerful. Alright, let's try going in here again. I'm gonna actually save again. And that's inventory. I keep wanting to hit escape for the main menu, and then when that doesn't work, my brain's like, perhaps tab. But that is also not correct. Cheat makes 50% health packs free. Ah, okay. Okay, so let's see if I can do this. Nope. I'm glad I saved. Oh, right. I tried to hit space to jump, but that's not correct. It's up. We'll get there. What is the correct way to advance after I've died? I keep just mashing a bunch of different keys, and it seems like it just takes a little bit. Okay, so run, and then up. So close. Robot Space are on a Monday or Sunday for you? What kind of glorious happening is this? Yeah, occasionally I do Sunday for me streams. Usually if Unsecret Crush is playing Werewolf with friends. You've caught me at the tail end of stream here. I was getting ready to wrap up, and then 6-7 redeemed a DOS break. So we're playing some Fatherworld. For the first time ever. I'm not good at it. But that's okay. There we go. Hello, I'm Hanwei, Kim Hanwei. Nice to meet you. By the way, what are you doing here? Wow, she's pretty. But why is she crying? I'll ask that later. I should respond kindly to get closer. My dad came here on a helicopter, but I haven't heard from him since. And there is no news from those who tried to find him. That's why I came to find my dad myself. Impressive, huh? By the way, why are you crying? Why would I be crying if I knew that? But you really have remarkable courage. Embarking on an adventure to find your dad alone, but so far, no one has left this place. Really? But what happened in Uedo? Please tell me. Last year, one day, a bad guy named Zinus suddenly appeared and insisted that he needed to rule over us for the sake of world peace, and he took away everyone who didn't listen to him, my dad included. Later, I found out that he brainwashes the people who he takes away so that they can never defy him again. It seems my dad was taken to use him to brainwash people. What? What does your dad do? My dad is a scientist. Really? My dad is also a scientist, so maybe he's been captured along with yours. Really? Then we're in the same situation. How about the two of us go together and find our dads? Wow, this is unexpected. Yes, it was getting tiresome going alone, but hey, I can't understand a single character here, can I? Why is there no Hangul writing at all? Yeah, those are characters made by Zinus called Panmunja. Here, if you use Hangul instead of Panmunja, they capture you for resisting and pull out all your teeth. Oh, yikes! Excuse me. I went through a lot to avoid getting my teeth pulled. If you go to a bookstore and buy a translation dictionary, you can decipher the characters. Ooh. Buy a dictionary? I've never used a dictionary before, and now I'm in trouble. But I don't have any money? It's a hassle to brush my teeth. Should I just get captured? Oh, coughing a little bit. The dialogue in this game is so funny. I see. Oh, by the way, I should have enough money for that. Here, it's a cash card. And if you ever think about getting captured just because you're too lazy to brush your teeth, forget it. They'll twist and pull them out without anesthesia. Wow, glad I avoided that. I must preserve my pride. I'm not sure if I should accept something like this. Anyway, thank you. I'll repay you later. But where can I buy this translation dictionary or whatever it is? You can buy it at a bookstore. If you go straight to the right from here, you'll find a bookstore. Let's go together. You don't know the way, and you can't read the signs either. That's true. Wow, that's good. Okay, let's go together. Okay, I'm going to do another save. We did run out of time, but I'm going to go another 15 minutes. Then I really do need to stop and eat dinner. As we discussed, this is a little bit different than most of our DOSBreak games. Most of my DOSBreak games work a little better for a short period of time like this. But sometimes it's fun to make exceptions. Is this safe? So can I talk to her more? Youngman, hi. Did you find any clues? No. No, just saying hello. Okay. I was hoping she would tell me if this is where I want to go. Oh, I was trying to go in, not talk. Okay, that seems to be a dead end, so I think that is where I want to go. Hopefully. Okay, this is proper. Why does the cash register say bad? What book did you come to buy? The Hieroglyphic Interpretation Dictionary is 10 credits, and Flying Boy, not the latest edition, is 5,000 credits. What's Flying Boy? And why is it so expensive? We want the Hieroglyphic Interpretation Dictionary, I think. Let's see what happens if I try to buy Flying Boy. You're short on money, huh? Go home and ask your mom for more money. Okay, I'll do that. Here it is. Take it. Come again next time. Okay. Always be saving. Nice. Now we know that this is book. That's great. Okay, so I think this was a dead end, but I want to double check. Yeah. So I'm not entirely sure where I want to go now, but maybe now that I can read things, it'll be easier to figure out. That guy's terrifying. Should I go back in here? I didn't mean to talk to her, but maybe this will be useful. Did you find any clues? No, just saying hello. I just accidentally said hello. Okay. I knew that was too soon. You can travel up the streets with space. Oh, okay. I didn't even think of that. She doesn't seem that concerned about me having jumped in the water and died. Okay, so we had a street here. Easy come, easy go. So let's go up this street. All right. Interesting. Left looks scary, so let's try right first. Dead end. Figures. I guess I accidentally ditched my new friend. Oh! Yikes. What just happened to that person? Can I talk to them? Ugh, I feel like I'm dead. What are you looking at? It's so embarrassing. So embarrassing to be dying. No, mister, why are you lying here? Well, since you've seen me, I might as well look. I got caught by a Jerisha. Ah, you mean that tin can robot from earlier. Why did those robots do this to you, mister? We're a resistance group gathered to drive out Zynus. Those robots are his minions. And not long ago, Zynus forcibly took away a crystal orb that an old sage had, which turned out to be a family heirloom. Upon further inspection, this orb possesses immense power. Zynus is already immensely powerful, and if he gains the power of that orb, no one will be able to defeat him. That's why our rebels have stolen that orb he had and hid it in various places around Uedo. They're probably in chaos right now, trying to find that orb. Seriously, is that guy Zynus really that strong? You have no idea. Over 100 of us were completely defeated by his subordinates. If his underlings are that strong, just imagine how strong Zynus himself must be. It's embarrassing, so don't ask anymore. Anyway, if you have any blood replenishers or health recovery potions, please give me some. Huh? I don't have that. Where can I get one? You can buy it at the pharmacy. You could just go and buy it. I can't move a muscle with this body. I'm sorry, but could you buy it for me? I'd appreciate it. How can I buy something when I have no money? If you kill the Jerishas, you can get a cash card. What can I fight with to win? I don't have anything that can be used as a weapon. Oh, if you go to the NBC historical drama set, you'll find a sword. Please do that for me. This guy's very demanding. Historical drama set. There's another street we could go down. Oh, God! Lower your expectations, guy. Yeah, really. Okay, so we need to go down that street, I guess. I should probably do another save before I get killed by a dragon. This looks similar. Oh, who's this? Hey, student, look at me. Who, me? But, kind old lady, what are you doing here? Oh, young one, I am so glad to have met you here. I need to tell you about something important. There's an heirloom that has been passed down in our family for generations, but that jerk Zynus took it. I need to start taking notes. Do I have any room in this book? Okay. I'm gonna dedicate the last page of my World Builder book to Father World Notes. Get orbs. We need to find a historical set where we can get a sword. And kill guys to get cash cards. And now... Oh, 7 crystal orbs. Is that so? But kind old lady, what's so special about them? Beats me. I was simply holding on to it, as it has been passed down from our ancestors for generations. Perhaps that scoundrel Zynus took it because it's beautiful. That rascal. Anyway, I have a request, young man. If you could find even just one, then please find me again too. I won't remain idle if you fulfill this quest. And then perhaps you could give me something in return. Hehe. Well then, there is another heirloom that has been passed down through generations in our family. It's called the Banjin Ring, a very auspicious ring, yes. Old lady wants orb. Banjin Ring. Drooling. What are you using it for? This ring is a ring that brightens the darkness. No matter how dark the place is, it brightens up like daylight. Okay, can you find the orb for me? Feeling good about it. Well, that's a bit, but since it's your request, I'll look for it very, very diligently. By the way, where's the orb located? When I asked around, they said there should be one in some apartment. Orb in some apartment. The son of that house was part of the... Hello, Pixel Turkey. Welcome. Rebels, and it seems he had a key role. He stole it from where Zynus was recently and got caught by those little bandits a few days ago. So it must be in that house for sure. Please find it for me. Okay. Orb in some apartment. And we learned that there's 7 orbs as well. Hope you're enjoying this. I am. I already added 15 extra minutes to my DOS break timer, and now I'm almost out again. And I kind of want to keep playing, but I do need to wrap up and eat dinner. Okay, that's bad. We're not ready to deal with that guy yet. Charger. I don't know what that means. Oh, God. I might be able to just run past those guys, but I'm not sure if that's what I want to do yet. Been in my buffer for like 30 minutes now. This seems like a wonderful take on the style set up by Out of This World Flashback. Yeah, for sure. Oops. What is this? Need a card key. Oh. Oh, this is cool. I don't have any card keys, though. Is a cinematic adventure like Flashback in Another World? Yes, it is. Can I use the telephone? Okay, that's a dead end. Also, I miss you coming in, Puzzle. Hello. Good to see you. I was too absorbed in Father World. Wait, no. Hit by a car again. I guess we just gotta sit and contemplate our death for a little bit until we are allowed to restart. Let me give Pixel Turkey a shout out. Highly recommend giving Pixel Turkey a follow. Oh, I should have saved again after we talked to the lady. Now, let's see. So we went down this street. You're welcome. All right, we talked to this guy as well. Just mash through this. All right, so I didn't write this down. Dying guy wants meds from pharmacy. So much to keep track of. Gotta contemplate how we didn't... Oh god, I forget those guys will attack you. Didn't listen to the look both ways rules. Yeah. Okay. And then this lady wants her heirloom orb and will give me a ring that is basically a flashlight. Oh crap. Young man, did you find the orb? No. No, I tried my best to look for it, but I don't know where it is, even if I were to die trying. Please teach me again. Ugh, embarrassing. Pathetic kid. I told you it's in an apartment, didn't I? Kids these days have worse memory than me. All my ancestors, it seems like the item is lost. Oh! I keep pressing space too many times, which is in fact very embarrassing. Okay, now we're gonna save. My timer's out, but I wanna... Let's do 5 more minutes. We need to find a better stopping point than this. Oops. Well, I'll just name this 6. I assume that's okay. Quest failed. Old lady mistrusts you. I want to go right here. Did I do that previously? I can't remember. Okay. Oh, this is the pharmacy. But I don't have any money yet, so I don't think this will be useful. Why do all the cash registers say bad? What should I give you, kiddo? We have everything here except rat poison. Hemostatic agents are 50 credits. And stamina recovery agents are 100 credits. I'm bleeding a lot. Please give me a hemostatic agent. Please give me a stamina recovery agent. I won't buy anything. You're short on money, huh? Go home and ask your mom for more money. Oh, coughing a bit. I really need to finish up. You're trying to keep him from dinner in revenge for keeping you up late so many nights. Ooh. Too bad all I needed was rat poison. Yeah. I forgot to continue in this direction. Okay, can't go that way. Alright. Let's see if I can run past this guy. Ooh. Oh, that looks scary. Oh, God. Okay, that's a dead end. Oh, God. Oh, God. This is not going well. Oh, God. Yeah, there we go. Oh, I can't jump up further. Okay. Oh, God. Can I go in here? I guess not. It's maybe just meant to be the door I come in from. Okay. I almost feel like I need to draw a map of this. Oh, God. Oh, is this the same street I started on? I only take credit for 20 minutes of this. Yeah, like, definitely. I've now added 20 minutes of my own. We've done 2 DOS breaks at this point. Charger. I already forgot what was in here. All right, there was a guy in here. So let's try to run past him and see if we can find anything here. Oh, God, that's probably a tougher guy. Oh! I fell in a hole. This seems bad. Whoops. Bears mentioning the controls were listed in the manual. The story is also. Yeah, I forgot about the manual. Next time someone redeems this, I will try to. Excuse me. I will try to remember to read the manual. And refresh my memory on all the info in there, which I'm sure will be very helpful. Okay, this seems like a bad place to be. Oh, I've died. And my timer is pretty much out. There's maybe 30 seconds on it, but I think we'll leave it at that. Thank you, 6-7, for sponsoring this episode of DOS Break. That was a lot of fun. I'm glad I finally had a chance to play some Father World, and I am excited to play more in the future. Good effort. Thank you. I appreciate it. Let me paste that link again. If anyone is interested in... that is a patch for the game. To translate it into English. If you'd like to check it out for yourself. So... let me hit my schedule button again. As I was saying, as I was wrapping up before, we'll be back to normal schedule for the rest of this week. Tuesdays, Malpiti Island, and Friday, Conquest of Camelot. I've missed so many Friday streams. I'm especially excited for more Conquest of Camelot. I have not had... I've not made as much progress in that game as I was hoping to by this time. But let me find someone to raid here. Thank you very much for the stream, and I hope dinner is great. Thank you. I'm sure it will be. And you're welcome. I had a good time. Wow, there's a lot of people streaming. Okay. I saw that Culinary went live a little bit ago. And the game he's been playing, Racing Lagoon, is very cool. So I'm going to take y'all over there. It's an RPG racing game, which is such a weird combo. It's got references to, like, there's a guy that tells you how, like, modifying your car is similar to junctioning a Guardian Force in Final Fantasy VIII. Like, there's some hilarious stuff in it like that. And it's also just very interesting gameplay. So there's also, like, upgrading your car and, like, improving your car stats and stuff like that. So I hope y'all will come along. Thank you, Mac. You too. Hope you all have a great night. We'll see you around. Take care of yourselves. Bye.